fun. Okay. So, for the first section, this is chapter 36 through 40. Here's the summary for that. Evelyn is engaged to Harry and goes to the Academy Awards. Ruby wins, not Evelyn or Celia. Evelyn goes to the bathroom and cries. Celia also ends up in the bathroom. They talk and end up rekindling their love. Harry and Evelyn get married. The couple move to Manhattan to be near John and Celia. Evelyn finds out her father died in 1959. Riots start occurring for gay rights, and they all start funneling money into it. Celia ends up winning a second Oscar. Everyone goes out for Evelyn's 36th birthday. At the end of the night, Harry and Evelyn discuss their readiness to have a child. They discuss with John and Celia as well and get to it. They welcome a daughter in 1975. Her name is Connor Cameron. Okay. And for Adrian's question, he sent me two, so I'll do the first one. His first question was, did you think Evelyn would rekindle her relationship with Celia? Oh, hello, Adrian. I'm literally reading your first question.
Welcome back.
Oh, yes.
Hello.
Yes. So his first question was, did you think Evelyn would rekindle her relationship with Celia?
I didn't. Personally, I thought the end of the book was, Evelyn announcing to the world that she loved Celia because they never got back together or something. But
Well,
That was a pleasant surprise.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was really hoping they would get back together. Like, yeah.
I was hoping so as well.
Yeah.
It was like, quit being stupid. Just
Just
do
be
it.
together.
Hug it
God
out.
damn it.
Hug it out.
Yep.
I think at this point in the story, I was happy for them to rekindle. I will share my thoughts about later at a later time. Um, uh, the Adrian, do you want to read your second question there?
Yeah. So towards the end of my section, the end of chapter 40, um, she decides to have a baby with Harry. Do you think that's a considerate decision for Celia for considering what Celia wants the relationship to be? How she wants it to just be them, but then she goes and makes this decision to have a child with Harry, kind of behind Celia's back, but eventually tells her. How did everybody feel about that?
I can understand uh Celia not wanting that necessarily, and I can appreciate, that she's ultimately willing to accept it. But yeah, I can see, it appears that Celia is more, well, very monogamous leaning in that she wants Evelyn to herself, and that includes, from Harry, but also kind of the
Mhm.
world, which will come up later.
Yeah.
Um, and so, it was good of her, I guess, to accept it, but I can understand why, she maybe wasn't thrilled about that, especially since they, conceived the child the traditional way. So,
it's it's such a unilateral experience and decision for her wanting to be in a equal relationship with Celia. Like it's
Yeah.
Evelyn's daughter, not Celia's daughter technically,
Yeah.
and it's Evelyn's egg and biologic, progeny, not Celia's. And so it was a
Yeah.
very lopsided part of that
Mhm.
dynamic. And so I think Celia actually did took a huge one for the team here and was
hmm
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
Yeah.
graceful in the situation.
I
Part of me
agree.
feels really bad for Celia, but I also kind of feel like Evelyn doesn't sound like she's been keeping it a secret that she wanted a kid, so she
Yeah.
probably. But I do feel bad because, like, I think it's 79, right? So it's not like IVF is really a thing yet. So you kind of either gotta adopt, which I don't know. I don't think adoption would have looked as suspicious as they think
Yeah.
it would have.
Yeah.
Considering she's 36 and hasn't had kids yet, they could definitely play the, especially like early on when they do the fake miscarriage with Dawn, like they could have just played the angle that she can't have kids, you
True.
know?
That's kind of what I was thinking about too.
Yeah.
Like it feels very much like Evelyn got very narrow-minded about this is what she wants and this is how she wants it done, which we've
Mhm.
seen in the past. That's kind of been her MO, and it's going to eventually bite her in the ass as we read. But I think this is just one of the many times that we've seen that where she has put, whether consciously or not, her own wants before other people's like feelings or considerations for the people that she loves. That it feels just like one step closer to uh just in line with what she has been doing. I do think that she should have included Celia much more in the conversation
Mhm.
than what we saw, and maybe she did and it just didn't happen on the page. But I would have liked to like have had that scene. But if what we were reading is what is the full story and what Celia got, then that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I am glad it was at least with Harry, her longest and most
Mhm.
stable relationship, even if they're double bearding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, if
I'm
all the
glad he
husbands
gets to be the dad, it's him and not like the dickbag abusive guy or like the
or the
fake
one that
ones.
she got, yeah, that she got married to and annulled
At
the next
least
morning.
Yeah.
at which, speaking of that, I was very glad that they like didn't moralize too much on the abortion. She was like, "Yeah, I got knocked up and got it. It was
And
fine.
yeah, moving on with my,
Peace."
yeah, the I did like that they went and made it very clear in that scene of like she did not regret it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a decision that, one of the few ones where she made for herself, that worked out in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I feel like in most media they either play the heartfelt adoption or they just keep it angle, and
Hmm.
Mhm.
you don't get the "I got the abortion and I'm happy" very much, except for in Letterkenny. That's literally the only example I can name.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And they didn't demonize it that much either. It was just kind of like, I had to
yeah,
do this.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. There's also like, I'm gonna have to find the song now. But they're speaking of country music. Earlier, there's one country song specifically that comes to mind that that's a thing in that it's not demonized and it was great. But
Mm.
I'll have to find that later. But there's not a lot of representation for that.
Okay. Any other thoughts, comments, questions on chapters 36 through 40?
I just keep having this foreboding feeling of dread for Harry because all because of like those words that she used to describe him.
Mm-hmm. Tortured. Yeah.
Tortured.
Yeah,
Oh, it's like
yeah,
fuck. When's the shoe going to drop?
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
Just Evelyn be a bit selfish. A bit selfish.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah,
That does tend to be a running theme, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo.
Given she's had to be, but also there's a
when
point
she,
in time you got to be considerate, and you don't have to be selfish with certain people.
yeah, there's times where it makes sense for her to be, and I
Mhm.
think we can all like agree that that was the best decision to make in those situations.
Yeah.
But it's kind of becoming her go-to when it necessarily shouldn't be.
Yeah.
How she's chosen how to survive,
Yeah,
Yeah.
live
When
her life.
exactly.
she doesn't have to, do
Hmm.
that anymore. Like
Yeah.
she can compromise on some things, but
Yep.
and in the present flashback, she often reflects on that. But yeah, definitely in the past and the meat of the story, she is very much her way or the highway on the majority of things.
Yep.
Okay, let's go on to the next section, chapters 41 through 45. So, Harry and Evelyn bond intensely over Connor. They feel soulmate-ish. When Celia returns from filming, she is a little territorial over Evelyn to Harry. Celia encourages Evelyn to take a sexy role, to feel like herself. She decides to go for it, but finds out that Dawn is the male lead. Evelyn decides to meet with Dawn to see if she can tolerate him. He apologizes for his past and is now sober. Him being better now doesn't really mean anything to her, but she decides she can tolerate him and be friendly, though they are not friends. Everyone goes on a nice picnic for Harry's 45th birthday. This was the last good thing, as Evelyn claims to have ruined it after that. As Evelyn is finishing her movie, she is approached by Max, the director, asking her to do a more intense sex scene where the focus is seeking female pleasure, which would be quite a statement for the time. Evelyn agrees, but realizes she probably should have talked to Celia. She avoids addressing it, and the scene ends up being completed. She tries to cover herself by talking to Celia as if it hadn't happened yet, but Celia says she is against it, and Evelyn reveals it already happened. Celia and Evelyn break up, and Celia divorces John too. Evelyn begs for Celia's forgiveness multiple times, but no dice. Okay, Valk, what is your question?
Yeah, I guess I have two questions. One, are you guys surprised that Evelyn was able to reconcile with Don Adler? You know, in the context that he pretty much silenced her, exiled her from the studio, abused her, and just my opinion, I was thinking she'd be a little bit more like, oh, you know, it's time for some revenge or eat shit kind of perspective.
Hmm.
What do you guys think of that dynamic
I
and reconciliation?
I think she is getting her revenge, just in a warped kind of way.
Yeah.
Because
I think.
she does mention like looking at him and he's like, wow, this he's like, wow, like
Mm.
he's just not even a thing anymore. He's so sad and pathetic.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
life hasn't been going well, so that's kind of revenge
Yeah.
in itself.
Yeah, I'll admit that the some small vindication was felt in seeing just how shitty his
Mm-hmm.
life has gone
Yeah.
since the
Hmm.
last time we encountered him.
Yeah.
And for once, I think Evelyn may have been a bigger person than at least I would have been in that situation, because I absolutely would have been like, nope, not doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
absolutely not working with this man.
Yeah, I do have to give her that. That is definitely like the one part where she is being the bigger person.
Yeah.
Also, that whole thing with like the sex scene.
Hmm.
I'm
That
both
was
like
interesting, yeah.
I'm like, okay, girl, this is not a ask for forgiveness kind of situation, but also like I'm kind of like, yeah, girl, get it. You show those sensors.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like it is
Yeah.
a dick move to Celia. And she should have talked about it, but I mean it's Evelyn, so we know she wasn't going to. But she should have.
It's part and parcel at this point.
Yeah, that
At
was kind of
least
my
she actually talked about it, even if it was late, instead of Celia finding out at the premiere, I guess. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of my second question in a sense. Do you guys feel Celia overreacted in this situation? I mean, the way I'm viewing the scene is you know, okay, yeah, she's doing this provocative sex scene, but there's no actual sex. It's all acting. And yeah, it's with
Yeah.
Don, the ex-husband, but you know, there's no emotional attachment. It's like why is Celia so hurt by this? And you know, saying like I'm only getting parts of you or pieces of you. I'll never have you, you know, all to herself.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
what is
think
she
there
not
might have been
getting?
I think there might have been some displacing of Celia's like
Yeah.
emotions in this particular point,
Hmm.
because we have seen, and we've like Evelyn has admitted that she has not been like a good partner to Celia. Like she has put herself first before Celia on multiple occasions, and I think at this point it was kind of a final straw that broke the camel's back. Like I think if
Yeah.
she had actually roped Celia in on the talks about having Connor, I think if she had roped Celia in fully on what had happened with that one rock star, I can't remember his fucking name.
Mick.
Um, Mick, thank you. Like the entire plan and not have had been as cagey as she had been about it. Like if she had actually included Celia in all of these decisions and treated her as an equal, I think Celia might have had a very different reaction than what she did here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
It's a lot of little things.
I feel like I have a little bit of a different opinion here. I
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like Celia wants out of a relationship maybe something that no one in Hollywood is going to be able to give her. And
Mhm.
kind of after this scenario, I feel like kind of done with Celia. I feel like it was, you know, like work. It was literally work, like no, emotional stuff. She like made, came to terms with her Dawn whatever stuff, and just the way that like Celia was like, "No, I can't handle you doing this." Like, one, you know who Evelyn is. You know the kinds of roles people want her in, and that she, both that people want her in, and that she takes. And it just like her reaction to this situation just felt very out of place to me and very exhausting. It's like, like what are you even doing, Celia? Like she is an actress. She is a professional. She did, an important scene. It wasn't real sex. It was her, with her ex-husband that she like tolerates at best. Um she shouldn't have needed to ask your permission. She probably should have told you, but given their history, like maybe, she knew there would just be drama if she told her, but she should have been informed like, "Hey, this is occurring," not so much asking for permission. But yeah, based off the whole nature of the rest of their relationship, it almost felt absurd and silly that this is where Celia was drawing the line and she just couldn't come back from Evelyn doing her job that she's paid handsomely for with, and again, it's acting, it's not real. I yeah,
Yeah.
when I was reading
I
this, I was
yeah.
just like, what do Celia and Evelyn even have in common? Like I like her and Harry together so much better in so many other ways, and Celia, I just don't like the dynamic, especially after this interaction. I find them very tiring.
I can
Yeah.
absolutely understand
Yeah.
that like
Like
viewpoint.
I'm kind of leaning that way with Celia too. Like not that Evelyn is the greatest
Oh no,
partner, but
she's not.
Celia definitely has
Yeah.
very jealous tendencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jealous.
And to clarify,
Go
Like
ahead.
I
I think
I
Oh, hold on. Go
oh,
ahead,
you can go
Amarilla.
first.
oh no, you're good.
Cuz I was just going to say like she was definitely pushed to take this role because
Yeah.
I think
It was
she was
Celia's
still
idea.
jealous and wanted Celia wanted to get her away from like Harry
Yeah.
Mm.
cuz she was jealous of what Harry can do for her that she can't. And I don't know. Evelyn talks about how being bisexual to her isn't a big deal, but I think it bothers Celia more than she ever lets on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, to clarify, I me seeing that viewpoint of like death by a thousand cuts
Mhm.
of that's how this ended. I'm not defending Celia at all. Like
No.
she's a very flawed person.
And so is Evelyn.
The
I
fact
mean, they're
and
both
so
they're
is
both a
Evelyn. They're
couple of
very
fucking
yeah,
rats. I mean,
incredibly.
really.
Yeah,
Fucking scurrying
exactly.
around in
And
a newspaper
the
box.
like it's like it like irked me to so fucking much when Evelyn was talking about how Celia just um she talked about how Evelyn is a lesbian when Celia loved her and she was a straight woman when
Mm.
Celia was fighting with her. Like
Mhm.
Mhm.
and like that as
Yeah.
as a bi person myself is like,
Mhm.
no. that's
Yeah.
that's yeah. So I
Disrespectful.
don't think Evelyn was in the right
Mhm.
in this situation, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I don't understand
Yeah.
where she's coming from.
Yeah. And I'll just say, I I think Celia, yes, is immature, a little naive on like the field that she's in and what she has to do to like stay successful. But also, Evelyn made a lot of choices that Celia put up with,
Mm-hmm.
like letting her have sex with another man that she does have feelings for, to have a child with that she could never provide her. That's deeply emotionally traumatizing to someone, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
You know,
incredibly taxing.
Yeah,
that's very hard.
yeah, and kind of like what Emerald was saying, what you just said, Adrian. There are other reasons for them to break apart.
Mm-hmm.
This
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
one
there's like
is
other
just
things. This just happened to be the
Yeah.
reason.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
Fair.
butterfly landing on the giant pile of, straw and collapsing it, like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna add, uh, for kind of my thoughts on Celia too. I I I almost feel like some of the appeal of Evelyn to Celia is that maybe Celia has this like idea in her head that like deep down Evelyn isn't like who she shows everyone that she is, and that
Mhm.
deep down like uh, Evelyn would choose Celia over these other things that are really important and that she loves, even when she's not, she shouldn't necessarily have to choose. Anyway, the point being, I kind of felt like, this situation that happened with the scene in the movie kind of underscored this almost like control or almost like neutering that
Hmm.
Celia was seeking to have over Evelyn, like for her own gratification, satisfaction, security. Like it felt like this was the big one, but there were probably other parts in the story too where there were these like moments where Celia was kind of seeking to put Evelyn in not great situations and then try to like control slash neuter her or something. And I don't know. Anyway, I just kind of had that feeling about this too, is that this was like the big situation that came to a head where Celia needed the control, needed kind of the imposed neutering, needed the security, and like Evelyn just gave like the
Mhm.
the opposite, and it just kind of underscores like why maybe their dynamic is
It's
so
not. Yeah.
problematic and unstable.
Yeah.
I think she was completely justified the first time she left. I think she was
Oh yeah.
justified in leaving up.
Well, but even then, it's like what did she expect was
She,
going to happen?
yeah,
Yeah, I
letting
get
that
that,
I
but
think she
concentrate.
was a little naive then,
she
but
was.
I also do think that Evelyn maybe used that naivete in her for her benefit at the
Yeah, because
time,
she never
and then
expressly said it.
Yeah.
yeah, and then did a little bit of gaslighting to be like, well, that's what we agreed to. You didn't realize that that's what we agreed to.
Mhm.
So
I'm gonna go to
It
Vegas,
was a
get a guy
bit.
drunk, and get him to marry me.
yeah,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
do you what do you expect to happen if you yeah, like
I guess she could have withheld
the
sex and then he divorced her over
She did
that.
the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they could have got married and she could have been like, "Actually, I'm kind of asexual. Also, I have like painful what's that thing called? Vaginismus or whatever it is. And I
yeah.
can't really have sex. Is that okay for you?" And then that guy probably would take like 5 seconds to be like, maybe we should get an annulment. Like
No,
like
that's
Evelyn
yeah.
didn't have to do a lot of things. She did. She's not
Yeah.
good, but
Yeah.
also Celia,
Is
is
also not
desperate to
good. Yeah.
control her
Yeah.
and is very upset that she always fails.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much control as just like she has a picture in her head of what a perfect relationship is,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the things Evelyn is doing, whereas they make sense for everything else. That's not what Celia sees as their
Yeah.
relationship, and she said as much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I would like to just like point out just the overall encompassing the fact that they're having to be secret about the relationship in the first
Mhm.
place is
Yeah.
putting already so much stress that
Hmm.
these things that if they were in a quote unquote normal relationship or an accepted relationship, um, like I feel like they would feel like they had the room to figure that shit out that we're talking about rather than
Yeah.
what we see. And a lot of the stuff that we're seeing wouldn't have to happen in an accepted relationship. Like a
That's
hetero
true.
couple doesn't have to like sneak around to like make sure that the headlines aren't plastered with their faces and they're completely blackballed or like threatened against, and like a lot of the stuff unfortunately is them trying to do their flawed best in a really shitty system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think they're just both a little codependent on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Evelyn craves the normalcy that Celia provides, and Celia's craving the relationship with a beautiful woman, but there's a lot more complications happening to
Yep.
make it happen.
And a lot
Could
of
have been born in 2011, I
uh,
guess.
and a lot of the
Well, maybe
stuff
not 2011, but
a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff that Evelyn does, she didn't do that same stuff in like her marriages to men, you know what I mean? So in that regard, yeah, Celia
Yeah.
is getting definitely the shit end of the
Mhm.
stick. Like Evelyn was not having to, I guess, do all this stuff behind the scenes when she was married to a man.
But she
Yeah.
kind of did. She fucked the Ari Sullivan guy or whatever.
Oh,
Let
that's
him eat
true.
her out
While she
while
was
she was
married
with the
to the
guy.
first guy, yeah.
Yeah, she's been doing that the whole time.
That's true. But she probably didn't consider that like a real marriage. Her one to Dawn, I feel like she
True.
respected that marriage and treated it like real in her head and was
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It just sucks
Oh,
that the very first one is the one that is
yeah.
fucking abusive.
Mhm.
And then why is it that she gave Dawn the respect but not Celia?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
regardless of the necessities of what she's doing, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little one-sided.
well, considering all of her husbands, Celia's still her most healthy relationship out of the bunch. Except for, well, okay, except for Harry.
Henry, I think it's definitely at this point Henry, then Celia, and then the rest are sort of like the dregs of the barrel.
And even still,
Right.
you gotta feel bad for her and
Harry.
Harry, because even though they
Aw,
respect
Henry.
each other, it is still ultimately a weird relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's done for companionship and to protect themselves, which I feel like you really need more than those two things to create a successful marriage.
Yeah, it's sad I think for like Harry and Evelyn how close it feels like they are like to getting it right and how much love they do have for each other, but because there's like not, that I guess like
Yeah.
heterosexual, monogamy, whatever, that it's that they get lonely for other people, basically.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um okay, any other thoughts, comments, questions on chapters 41 through 45? All
No.
right. Let's carry on then. The next section is chapters 46 through 51. In the present, Evelyn hugely regrets doing that movie scene, and it wasn't worth it to her. Dawn won an Oscar, and she was admonished. She says she lost Celia because she loved being famous as much as she loved Celia. Evelyn says she is not a good person. Monique questions if Evelyn is really so bad, and Evelyn says, "You, of all people, are going to change your mind on that very soon." Back to the past, John dies of a heart attack unexpectedly, and Harry is very depressed for a long time. Evelyn's daughter doesn't recognize Celia as Aunt Celia anymore at John's funeral. Evelyn finds a good script and uses it to try to break Harry's depression. Evelyn, Harry, and Max all win Oscars that year. In her Oscar speech, she namelessly acknowledges Celia. After the awards show, Evelyn ends up getting burgers with Max. She is rushed in the burger place, and Max carries her out. Max ends up carrying her out and confessing his love to her. The next morning, there are 24 roses at the door from Max, asking Evelyn to marry him. In the present, they pause their interview. Monique has a voicemail from her mom and also from David. Apparently, David is in the city and at their apartment. David wants to see if they can make things work, maybe long distance. And Monique reflects on the interview she's done with Evelyn and feels her and David aren't meant to be. He leaves without any trouble. Monique sleeps very well. Back in the past, Evelyn discusses divorce with Harry. Harry encourages her to go after Max if it feels right. Evelyn goes to Max and they discuss the details of what it would mean if they got married. She ends up deciding to go for it, and they do the do. Okay, Amarillo, what's your question?
So there's a lot that happened in these very short chapters. But I have like two main questions. The first is I'm really curious what you all might have as far as theories go, because this isn't the first time that Evelyn has made direct mention to Monique about like you're gonna hate me when we're done with this. Don't I'm guarantee that you're gonna hate me. So I'm really curious what people have like as far as theories about what Evelyn is meaning about this.
I think she probably played into the way her father passed away in some way,
I
Hmm.
had not thought of
potentially.
that angle.
Yeah, who knows? She knows a lot of people. They were in the same industry.
How did
Who knows if
how,
she could have prevented his death or something like that and then didn't? Who knows? It's hard to
how did
say.
this how did her father die?
Uh, I don't know if she explicitly said, did they?
Heart
Yeah,
attack.
I don't think. Oh, heart
Heart
attack.
attack.
Oh, sorry, sorry,
Okay,
sorry, sorry. Heart attack was
that's
Evelyn's
Jim. Yeah,
father.
Rob.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know about Monique's.
I think I all I know is that it was sudden
It was
Mm-hmm.
a
and
It
sudden
was
death.
unexpected.
sudden and she was young, but I think that's all the information we have right now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got
Yeah.
we got that theory.
Um,
Anybody else have?
I feel like I have some kind of theory in my head where either I don't know, Evelyn secretly gets pregnant again and then like gives the baby up for adoption and that's like one of Monique's parents or something, or maybe or Evelyn and Celia get back together and somehow Celia's pregnant and she gives up the baby and that's one of the parents. Trying to imagine some kind of familial connection or fuckery or
Connection.
something at work. So that's kind of my theory is related to they're somehow related because
Right.
of some kind of secret something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm with Adrian. I feel like there was that foreshadowing with her dad
Hmm.
being whatever film business thing, and there has to be some type of interaction whether
Yeah.
her dad cheated on or on Monique's mom with Evelyn somehow, or somehow got screwed over. I mean, it's something along those lines where Evelyn screwed over Monique's dad,
I
figuratively or literally.
Mm,
Yeah, I had no theory. I was just like, I have no idea what this is about. Can't wait to read it. But I think I'm starting to. I think I'm subscribing to that Evelyn had something to do with her father's death.
mm. Yeah, what if her father died of a heart attack while having sex with Evelyn? That would be crazy.
Oh my god, could you imagine? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that'd
They were
be
mean,
a reason to
drunk.
hate someone.
we're-
Yeah.
we are on
Yeah.
husband 6,
Yeah.
so we don't
Yep.
know who husband 7 is yet.
Yep. And the second question, and I don't want to like skim over the stuff with David and Monique because like that was like some really good insight, and I felt personally really proud of Monique in that moment of like taking the lessons that Evelyn has taught her about like going after the things that you want and understanding the situations that you're in for what they are. Like, was really proud of her for sticking to her guns there
Mm-hmm.
and saying no, this divorce is happening. It's not a failure. Yeah, I'm not a failure. This marriage is a failure. Like that felt like good.
Mm-hmm.
But my second question is when at the very end, at the very tail end of chapter 51, when Evelyn agrees to marry Max, how did that make everybody feel?
cautiously
He's
optimistic for a moment.
like, I know
Yeah.
you're number 6, but come on.
Yeah.
One's gotta stick, right?
I think
Cause
they've
like,
all
cause she
been.
has, maybe this
Sorry.
is in my section, but she has this big long thought about how like she hasn't really been in love with anybody since Dawn, and I just felt so bad for her. I
That
Mm-hmm.
I
really
think that was in chapter 51. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
just felt so bad for her, and I wanted it to be, nice,
Yeah.
even though I
Yep.
know it's obviously not going to last because
Uh,
she's number 6.
6 of 7. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
What were you saying,
I
Adrian?
Number
Oh.
I, I was gonna say that they all seem to have been vehicles for her career or for her love life with Celia. So
Mm-hmm.
I think none of the husbands are gonna stick. I don't think any of them were actually husbands that were going to last a long time. I think they were all, what they were for what they were good for.
Mm-hmm.
A means to an end.
A means to an end.
Yeah.
I I guess for me, I was a little skeptical just because Max was keenly aware that Harry was gay, and he obviously wasn't aware that Evelyn liked Celia or was at least bisexual. And I was just like, how is he so keen on knowing Harry's gay but not Evelyn? And then does he really know who Evelyn is at all? Then how could Evelyn buy into that relationship? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little skeptical.
Yeah, that gave me like a bit of a pause as well. The part where like, okay, so you've proclaimed your love for her for now years at this point publicly. And you know Henry's biggest secret, but you somehow don't know Henry's wife's biggest secret, who you've like said that you love. So I started getting the feeling that he truly was just in love with the image of
Hmm.
Evelyn Hugo and um not the person, not just Evelyn. And not to spoil for the next chapter, but
Foreshadowing.
yeah.
Yes. Hmm. Let's see. Yeah, was anyone else kind of sad about Evelyn and Harry's divorce? Them
I
divorcing?
kind of wish that they had stayed together.
Yeah.
Like at the very like
Yeah.
I know we just talked about like companionship and protection aren't enough
Mm-hmm.
to make a happy marriage, but it's also the most secure that she's ever been.
True.
And like to give that up for an unknown, uh,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big leap.
Oh yes. Um. And then, anybody have any thoughts about the David situation? Amarillo kind of, shared her reflections. Anybody else have any takes on that?
Did anyone feel bad for David?
Mm,
not
Nah.
really.
yeah, it didn't.
Nah, it just seemed like they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it did kind of make me laugh a little because Evelyn's like, I'm a terrible person. Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
she's, well, I mean, then again, you could all, even bad people have good ideas sometimes, as much as we
Yeah.
all hate to admit it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't think Evelyn's quite as terrible as she says she is. Like she's fucked up because it's Hollywood, but compared to like other Hollywood bullshit, I mean, she's probably not that bad.
Yep.
I
But I am glad that she was able to take some lessons from it.
yeah.
Gross.
I think it seems like it just felt like David was not super into it too. Like the closest he could, you know, give to, I guess, I don't know, an appeal or something was just the act of like buying the ticket and showing up there. But it felt like he did not have love or emotions or, anything vested really, is maybe just like he was at his new job talking to people and maybe he was feeling self conscious or like a failure that, his marriage had ended. I'm pretty sure less than a year in is where they're at.
Yeah.
And so he was feeling kind of insecure, about that. But yeah, he shows up and like Monique said, he didn't come to her like I miss you or like I missed you so much. Like being away has really taught me a lot.
Mhm.
There was none of that. He was just like maybe we could do long distance or something, and I'm like
Well,
Yeah.
he's like, I made a mistake. I need to set things right. He did say that
Kind of
stuff.
reminded me of those high school sweethearts who get accepted into different colleges. You
It's
mm,
like, yeah,
know,
we're totally gonna do long distance, and no. Yeah, it felt very much like he was going through the motions and not even there for Monique's benefit, but just to say that he had tried when he got back to Los Angeles.
mm. Valk, did you have a different opinion? You were starting to say
Oh,
something.
no, I'm just like, she came to me, Money came across as pretty cold-hearted here. Like, yeah, I mean, there's like this guy who's tried calling you a bazillion times, texting you, you
True.
ignored him. He's trying to, come here. His first words are, hey, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Maybe we both did, blah, blah, blah. And, I get it, and you can have the realization, you know what? I realize that this marriage is never going to work out, blah, blah. But she comes across as a total bitch in this chapter to me. And
Mhm.
that's where I'm just like, I get where she's coming from. And she realizes, like, oh, David will never fulfill what I want, or I'm never going to be vulnerable enough to be able to sacrifice for this man. I think she says that in this chapter. But I don't know, just came across as really cold. And if I was in David's shoes, I was like, Jesus Christ, like what, like it's coming back to try to make an attempt, and it was just immediately shut down. No, like, hey, this was thoughtful, or I know you made a lot of effort here, but I just really think things aren't going to work out. It's like, oh no, I didn't make a mistake. You should leave. Like,
Yeah, I can
you
appreciate
know,
that.
a little cold, but at
Yeah.
the same time, in a situation like that, I don't really think there's like a good way to handle it. It's just, well, okay, there are definitely bad ways to handle it, but I don't think that there's like a good way to handle it necessarily. So sometimes it's just kind of better to rip the band-aid off, be honest.
I'm
yeah,
I'm sure she was
Like,
shocked that he was there. So maybe that's part of,
Yeah.
like she was still like maybe fight or flighting, but like rushing home because she just realized that like he's
Oh
gonna
shit,
be
he's in my
there.
house.
and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and And I will say, I think the other thing really irked me at the end of this chapter, because I just flipped the page and saw it, was like, I hope one day you find someone who feels like the other half of you, I guess, David says.
Mhm.
And then Monique's thought, like Celia. I'm like, what the fuck? Celia's like a terrible other half. Like,
Yeah.
just, like,
Yeah.
that's her
Yeah.
viewpoint of what she's missing or needs that David can't provide her. I'm like, what? Anyways,
Yeah.
all right.
What if Evelyn's ultimate reveal just makes Monique regret everything and the book ends with her getting back with David? That'd be kind of crazy.
I have a new theory.
Oh god.
well,
Evelyn
even
Go ahead,
Evelyn
Amo.
concocted Evelyn concocted David's job in Los Angeles specifically to
No.
break them up.
Oh my god. That's totally possible.
that would be amazing, actually.
I have
Wild.
that. I don't think that's it, but
It
I'm
could be.
changing my vote.
Damn. That would be crazy.
Anyway, yeah, I don't think Celia's been a great partner to Evelyn, but like you do get the sense that Evelyn at least thinks that they're meant for each other and that they're really in love with each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
I
that
think
kind of love is infectious, and that's
yeah.
probably what she means.
Yep. I do wonder, like I can't help but try and imagine like if they were allowed to openly seek out like other women for relationships without the prejudice and without the judgment, like if they would have noticed then that, oh, it's not that it's Celia specifically that I am feeling like this way about. It's just I'm experiencing another woman for the first time.
Mhm.
Yeah. maybe the forbidden fruit aspect of the relationship is what kept it going for so long.
That's also a really
Because
Like
good
they're
I mean,
point.
if you
trauma
think about it,
bonded
she
together.
Yeah,
she knows other lesbians exist, but she doesn't
seek
know
them out.
any
Yeah,
other ones. So it might, because I kind of feel like if gay marriage was a thing back when they were, in their youth, I think they would have gotten married, but I also think they would have gotten divorced.
I think so too.
yeah.
So,
I
or
think it
who
would have
knows?
been.
Maybe they would have gotten more mature or handled it better if they didn't have to sneak around. But I also kind of feel like Celia's idealism is kind of like a reflection of how she grew up kind of sheltered, because it says like she's from like some rich family in Georgia or whatever, whereas Evelyn's maybe more pragmatic and willing to do more things that normal people aren't willing to do because she had, to do that kind of stuff just to survive and get out of there.
Yeah,
I think it's most likely that they would have divorced and there wouldn't be all of this yearning, but I do think there's like a small chance they would have figured out how to stick it out.
yeah. It would have been. It would have been the seven husbands and one wife of Evelyn Hugo.
Well, no, let's see. She meets Celia while she's married to Dawn, so I guess it would have been two husbands, one wife, and hopefully
Question
no more
marks.
husbands and
Yeah.
Yeah.
question marks.
All right. Any other thoughts, comments, questions on chapters 46 through 51?
Nope.
Okay. This is the last section of this reading, chapter 52 through 54. Um,
53.
oh, yes, 53. You're right. I didn't even update it on my note thing. Yes, so if you read 54, no worries. Just tuck it away in your brain for next week. So chapter 52 through 53. We start this section with a title called Disappointing Max Gerard. Anybody else fucking audibly moan at that? Oh,
Like,
God.
god damn it, fuck.
And I was
Yeah.
just like,
Had a
Yeah.
I
feeling.
saw
He
that
is
and I was
French.
just like, I knew it was coming because he's number 6, but God, I felt really bad for Evelyn in that moment.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
so Max and Evelyn get married in the desert. It's clear Max has Evelyn on a pedestal. They end their honeymoon early because Max wants to be with Evelyn in the city, in parentheses, where they can be seen together and get him attention, end parentheses. Um, he kept making comments about if other people were noticing her or them, and kept calling her Evelyn Hugo instead of Evelyn. By the time they got back, her heart was in halves. Max only loved the idea of her, and she was only a trophy. Celia wins a third Oscar and acknowledges Evelyn in her speech. Evelyn writes to her, and she responds. They write back and forth. There are apologies, and Celia finds out Evelyn's marriage to Max was real and decides not to continue communication. Marvelous. What are your questions or your question?
I have a thing for yearning, so this was kind of like a it hurts so good chapter. Like, I love yearning, even with terrible
Terrible, terrible
relationships
people.
like this. Like, I just felt really bad for Evelyn. Like, I knew it wasn't going to end well. Um, but I just, seeing that realization dawn on her that that he liked the idea of her, that he liked just being seen with her. Like, I could get it, man.
Yep.
Cause I've had that happen. Like, I have had a couple of guys that I liked. I liked hanging out with them, but when they eventually like asked me out, it just I could tell they were putting me on a pedestal, and I was just like, buddy, I can't do this. But hey, at least I didn't marry any of them. I didn't even date
Yeah.
them. It sucks. I think maybe in what was I going to say? Did you feel bad for Evelyn in these chapters? Like how did that make you guys feel?
Yeah, I felt pretty bad for
Oh,
her. Lots of audible
yeah.
groans, to be honest.
Yeah.
Disappointed,
Yeah,
I feel like
like
is
like like
aptly used.
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't
it's
think.
like I'm a
Go ahead.
little bit fed up with their shit, but I'm also just like,
Yeah,
be better.
What were you gonna say,
I
Adrian?
didn't think the
Yeah.
sec. I said I didn't think the sex pest French guy was going to be a good match for
Oh,
her.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. All I could
yeah.
think, like, all I was thinking
Look,
about before
sometimes
was
you just have to hope that they're happy in their bad decisions.
Hmm.
So, did anyone think with the French heavy chain smoker guy, disappointing Max Gerard was going to be him having erectile dysfunction?
Oh God.
oh my god, no,
Oh, like it was like a facetious type of title, like
Well, just
sarcastic.
well,
like
disappointment
not
in
good in
bed, you
bed
know.
or
Yeah,
yep,
That would have been really funny, actually.
yeah,
yeah. This one
I
ended
would
because he
not
had a
have been
small
mad
dick.
about that. That would have made me laugh.
yeah.
But
No,
I also kind of feel like this is the beginning. Like, what else do you guys
Yeah,
think he is going to disappoint her about other than
mhm,
sex?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was with Celia, and Celia has no penis. So, I mean, if that was the case, he would have been
that's like
better off
fine.
at least.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so, Toaster, could I ask you to reread that last sentence of your summary? Um,
Uh, let's see. They write back and forth their apologies, and Celia finds out Evelyn's marriage to Max was real and decides not to continue communication.
Is that
she
54?
doesn't.
Is
My
that a
dear,
summary of the 54 of
No, no, no,
chapter 54 that we were
that's 50. So
That's a
53 ends with
yeah.
she
the
that
With
notes?
the notes saying
yeah,
that
Evelyn cannot get a hold of Celia anymore. Like she's not
yeah,
responding to her letters. She tried to call her. So that's I did not read 54, so I don't know if there's more of
Wait,
that later, but from there it seems like Celia's already done with her again at the end of
yeah,
Yeah,
53.
they're just like, God damn it, fuck, like
I think
yeah,
Celia or not Celia. I think Evelyn should have added like one more sentence to that like second to last letter. And I think Celia kind of misunderstood Evelyn because I think Celia heard I am in love with Max. Evelyn should have been like, no, he's not gay, but he also kind of sucks.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you had said something like that,
No,
do you think they're gonna get back together in the end?
I hope not. I'm done with all of them.
oh, okay.
It's like, see, like I think at this point, if they get back together, it's gonna feel a bit contrived, and I hate using that word, but like at this point, I'm not sure um what else. Like I we know that Celia. Do we know that Celia is dead at this point?
No, we
The
don't
way that
know
she talks in the
if she
beginning of
He
the
died.
says
book makes it
gone.
she
Mm,
says everyone's gone. Like
Yeah,
okay. So maybe
gone.
cuz
she
I
As
is
in
think
then.
very.
Monique asks her like is everybody like okay with you spilling the beans and Evelyn's just like
Yeah,
whatever they're all dead.
yeah. And so we know that Celia's dead, and we know also that this this book is going to be Evelyn's coming out essentially once she's already dead. I don't think they end up back together. Like I don't think they do. Also, I was like, I think this book wouldn't happen, and also the book that Monique is helping Evelyn
Mhm.
write wouldn't happen.
I don't know. I think they're too codependent on each other. I think they will try for number 3. Um will the third time be the charm on the other hand?
Yeah.
I hope I
We've
say a
still got one
prayer
more
not.
husband.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just like crossing your fingers
I
and
mean,
it's like,
I mean,
please,
literally,
please just no.
just like reading their messages to each other, and then like the hypocrisy of Celia here, I was just like so fed up because she literally apologizes for, like, the way things went about the movie, and that her, what'd she say, her film was important, or
Mhm.
that she's more talented than she gave her credit for, and like all these things, and then she turns around and does the same shit. Like Celia left her. Of course she's going to try to find somebody else, get married, whatever. What does she expect Evelyn to be, a fucking nun for Celia, who won't even talk to her for the rest of her life? I
Yep.
honestly, it frustrated me so much, and I disliked Celia so much that she's like Evelyn says, "My dearest Celia, I am sorry to say that no, he's not. He is different, but I am desperate to see you. Can we meet?" Like, yeah, it was not a fake marriage. She is trying to have a life and have love, and then fucking Celia is like, "To be frank, that news breaks me. Like, never mind, the 2 dozen women I've
Yeah.
probably fucked since I last saw you, but this news breaks me. I don't know if I could bear seeing you given these circumstances." Like, okay, buddy, I was about to shove the book up my ass. I'm like, done with these guys.
So
I mean,
You know,
I don't think any of them are redeemable. Sorry, go ahead, Gary.
So I had a completely different interpretation of this letter sequence. Evelyn says, "Do you think we can be friends? I hate to think the years left. And it's like, oh, see, that's is Max like Harry, like Rex? And I'm like thinking to myself, like, oh, are they nice, positive people or positive influences on Evelyn? That's what she's asking about?
Yeah, yeah.
And Celia says, I'm sorry, or sorry, Evelyn says, I'm sorry to say no, he's not. He's different. But I'm desperate to see you. Can we meet? And then Celia says, to be frank, that news breaks me because I'm thinking Celia is heartbroken for her. Like, oh, she was with
That,
another abuser or something along those lines. And I
that's
cannot
how
bear
I
to.
translated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, Rex
mhm.
That's
and
why I was
Harry
Mm,
are fake
confused on your summary.
marriages. Yeah.
yeah, but they're also positive, kind, caring in a way.
Yeah. I took it as her comparison was like, is he a piece of shit or is he a good
Yeah,
person?
that's the way I
That
took
that's
it.
how
Oh.
I
Yeah.
interpreted it also. So I guess now I understand, I mean, it's most likely the way you guys are saying it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with Gary right now. That's why I was confused on your summary
Hmm.
because I was like, wait, that's not what I gathered from those letters. I gathered that she was unhappy that the marriage wasn't good or wasn't
Mhm.
what she wanted.
Celia supremely hates when Evelyn is having pleasurable sex with men. And she was
Yeah.
not doing that
It's
with
true.
Rex, and she was not doing that, well, mostly not doing that with Harry, and until they like made Connor. So,
Yeah.
that she was having sex with her new husband in a time that Celia has not been talking to her for years is like the greatest offense to Celia. I'm just like, don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it.
If that's the way it is, then yeah, that's fucked. Celia has no right to say because even when they broke up before, she fucked other girls and said so, but they meant nothing to
Mhm.
her,
Yeah.
whatever. So she'd be very hypocritical if that's the way she's thinking. But I guess we'll know for sure in the next chapters.
Yeah.
I guess me and Geraint just kind of took it a different way
Yeah, it's
with the letters meant.
interesting. That didn't register to me at all. Like, oh, those guys were nice. It's like, no, those were like fake
Fake.
marriages. You know?
Assholes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Knowing
See, yeah,
Celia,
it
that's
didn't.
probably how she
Yeah.
means it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
I will admit, like until I flipped to the last page of chapter 53, like where their communication breaks down, I was absolutely tearing up because I was like, "Oh my god, Celia's actually admitting that like she should have like the movie was good and
Mm.
she should
Yeah.
have helped like she shouldn't have blown up the way that she did and that she was naive
Mhm.
and had all of these like ideals that just don't align with reality and like maybe they're gonna grow from this And then I
Mhm.
turned the page and it was like, God fucking damn it.
I think that's why I framed it the way I did, because I was like, oh, she just
Yeah.
acknowledged her mistakes. So
Yeah.
clearly, this can't be that she's being the same exact way again, right?
Yeah.
Right? Right? Yeah. God, I
I think
wish.
that's what it was. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was the pretense of what she says the page before.
Yeah.
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 Again with
So I was like, yep.
Hopeless romantic here. Sorry.
yeah,
No, I get that.
I mean, I think like this last bit also, tainted my exhaustedness with, the beginning parts too, and just being fed up with Celia there, like reflexively because of this end part, is like this is just another area where I feel like, Celia is striving to control and neuter Evelyn. And
Again. Yeah.
it's yeah, it's like of course she's like what do you want Evelyn Hugo to be a nun if she can't be with you, even though that's surely not what you're doing. Like there was a clipping somewhere in the reading from like a magazine thing where like Celia was being seen around town with some person named Joan or whatever, and so it's like she's still doing what Celia does. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Was anyone else like really creeped out when they realized like Max was like just kind of a
Hmm.
supreme fanboy basically, and almost I don't know. Yeah, just like feeling kind of creeped out for
Yeah.
Evelyn, feeling kind of grossed out for Evelyn that, she had been like, I guess, naked and vulnerable basically with.
With this
Look,
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dawn changed. There was a small part of me that hoped he had too.
Oh, that Max would
Yeah.
change? Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Um, okay. Any final thoughts, comments, questions on chapters 52 through 54 or the reading as a whole?
Um, I like really hope that Celia and Evelyn don't get together. And in her like 50s and 60s, Evelyn finds like a nice, stable woman.
I think they're too codependent. I think they're gonna go for number 3.
Uh,
They're gonna do it.
I really hope not, man.
I
God,
think they're
please.
gonna.
well,
Please, no.
we know Celia's timer's ticking, so we'll see. Oh God.
Yeah. Uh,
Um. Okay, so next week is the last reading for this book. It'll be pages 303 through 385. Um, for chapter, and I'll post this in book chat in just a few minutes. But for chapters 54 through 58, that will be Valk. For chapters 59 through 63, that will be Jesse. For chapters 64 through 67, that will be Marlino. And for chapters 68 through 69, the last two chapters will be Amarillo. Um,
oh,
and then for the next book we're going to read, I'll make sure that the survey goes out for that within like the next 48 hours. And then yeah, we can get that ordered and such. Um, but yeah, otherwise, GB, we're in the home stretch. Let's see what
GB, GB.
happens.
Fuck
Uh,
yeah.
What
Maybe.
yeah.
would Kit think?
Oh,
He's
he's.
here.
I will.
Oh yeah.
I think he had to go like take a smoke real quick, but I'll I will pester him and be like, so what you think? How
Yes.
was it?
See